Why the Jefferson City Police Chief made a plea for more funding. It's not to hire more officers.
How the State Fair created a national buzz over its portrayal of the president.
And how an organization plans to use additional funding to curb crime in Columbia. KOMU 8 News at 9 starts now.
Live from Studio 8A, coverage you can count on in high definition. This is KOMU 8 News at 9.
We begin tonight in Jefferson City, where the police chief presented a case to the city council for more funding. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reed.
And I'm Brittany Pieper. A budget deficit forced Jefferson City officials to begin major budget discussions this summer to try and fix the city's financial problems. Currently, the Jefferson City Police Department has 128 officers, 9 command officers, and 12 vacancies to fill. But tonight, the police chief wasn't asking for more money to pay additional officers. Instead, he wants new heating and air conditioning. KOMU 8's Devin Fassbinder was at the budget meeting and is live at the police department with those details. Devin?
Even with the shortfall in the budget to fill the vacancies that are in the Jefferson City Police Department, the chief did not come tonight begging for more officers. Rather, he talked about the different divisions in the department, and he also showed this chart. And as you can see from the chart, most of the funding is going to personnel. Because his funding requests were very similar to last year's, the council focused on his other request to fund the ventilating, air conditioning, and heating system in the police department. He says this system is old and it's dirty, but it would cost the city more than $400,000 to replace it.
We know we have pictures of, kind of gross pictures of how the dirt has accumulated in the filter system and things of that nature. And then literally, I hate to say this, but things kind of fly out of vents every now and then.
Council members said that this money could not come from the budget, but they did say it was something that was very important to address, and they would look for funding in other places. Also tonight, 2nd Ward Councilman Sean Schulte moved to eliminate the communications manager position in the city. It was discussed, it was seconded, but it ended up being turned down. Reporting live in Jefferson City, Devin Fassbinder, KOMU 8 News.
With the wave of crime that has hit Columbia this summer, Mayor Bob McDavid says he wants to focus on helping at-risk youth as a way of curbing crime in the city.
KOMU 8's Joe Prozek visited an organization that wants to help kids and has the means to do it.
We provide the food and
Claire Slamma has worked with the Columbia Rainbow House for 3 years and says the organization does a lot of good for the city's at-risk youth.
The Rainbow House has already received the first installment of the grant.
Several people were at Camdenton's monthly school board meeting in support of a local principal tonight. Sean Kirksey is under administrative leave after some scheduling issues with the Missouri Assessment Program, or MAP tests. According to a school parent, Camdenton Middle School gave students 2 45-minute test periods when it should have given them 1 90-minute period. Parents are upset because it was not Kirksey who set the schedule, but the school district's assistant superintendent.
Obviously, Camdenton Schools was doing wrong, and we were doing the wrong thing. We were not testing the right schedule. Let's fix it and move on. I don't think the district test coordinator should be fired over that either. I don't think it's a fireable offense. I think it's something that we need to fix. Let's fix it and move on.
270 communication arts scores were taken off the record because of the scheduling mistake. The school district will receive no other penalty for that error.
A trial began today for a Eugene man charged with second-degree murder for a 2011 shooting death in Cole County. Drew Puckett shot and killed Caleb Crabtree in what he says was self-defense, but prosecutors say Puckett shot Crabtree when he was unarmed and not acting as a threat. Puckett wasn't charged with the crime until more than 3 months after it happened. Today, the jury heard testimony from Crabtree's ex-girlfriend who witnessed the shooting. The most compelling moment came with an audio recording Puckett made minutes after shooting Crabtree. In it, you can hear Puckett say, "I told you I would, and I don't feel bad about it." The trial is expected to last another day or two.
A weekend rodeo in mid-Missouri is attracting national attention today. It featured a clown in a President Obama mask.
In it at the State Fair, a rodeo clown wearing a President Obama mask stepped into the arena with a wireless mic. Another announcer in the booth was Boonville Superintendent Mark Ficken. Ficken is the president of the Missouri Rodeo Cowboys Association. That group was in charge of Saturday's rodeo. The MRCA has apologized for the incident, saying its members do not condone that sort of activity. State Fair organizers also released a statement calling the incident inappropriate and disrespectful. They say they're banning the man who wore the mask from performing at future shows, but have yet to identify him. The incident has been a hot topic on social media and in Boonville, where Ficken runs the school district. We talked earlier today with Boonville residents about the controversy.
I thought it was really disrespectful, and especially with him being a member of the public and in the public eye of being a superintendent in Boonville, I do think that's wrong.
My personal opinion is, yeah, it's pretty funny. You know, it's a rodeo show. A lot of crazy things go on. So, yeah, I'd have found it funny, but from my business point or political, point of view, it wouldn't have been very funny,
Why?
Why? Well, the whole race thing's supposed to be over, Who cares if he's, orange, green, blue, black?
Comments on the KOMU 8 Facebook page are running strongly in support of the rodeo stunt as a bit of political satire.
Boonville Superintendent Mark Ficken spent a good part of the day working to separate his role in the rodeo from that of the rodeo clown. Because both of them were on mic, some of what the clown said has been attributed in the media to Ficken, including KOMU.com earlier. We have since corrected that story, which briefly misidentified Ficken as the rodeo clown. A law firm representing the Boonville R1 superintendent sent emails to the media today calling for accurate reporting regarding the rodeo stunt. The St. Louis law firm representing him wrote, quote, he concurs very strongly with the assertion that the state fair was not the appropriate forum for commentary of the nature uttered by the third party. Ficken claims to have had no advance knowledge of what the rodeo clown was planning.
The Columbia branch of the NAACP spoke out about the incident today as well, saying in part in a written statement, we at the NAACP are appalled at the disrespect and obvious racial display of actions about our president and the fact that we as African Americans living in this state of Missouri would have our tax dollars used at a function sponsored by the state to outright use such a discriminatory action as a form of entertainment.
In your health news, a stomach bug-like illness has spread in Missouri. The state health department confirmed the 4th Missouri case of cyclospora in Miller County. Officials do not know how the person contracted the infection. Other cases have been reported in Kansas City, Jackson County, and Taney County. Today, Taylor Farm in Mexico told the FDA that it has voluntarily stopped production of its salad mixes. The farm salad mix has been connected with more than 200 cases in 2 states. The total cases nationwide is now up to 535 in 18 states. As of this morning, the state of emergency in Miller County has been lifted. This comes after massive floods damaged homes, closed roadways, and devastated residents last week. Road maintenance continues in Osage County after last week's flooding. Most roads are now open in Osage County, but crews continue to make emergency repairs to roads that suffered from damages. Part of County Road 610 collapsed into the Marys River. Crews are transporting rocks from a nearby quarry and dumping them into the river to support land near the road. Now let's send it over to Dave to see if we can expect any more rainy conditions throughout the week. Hey, Dave.
Well, Brittany, I think not, actually. The rain pretty much has tapered off, but not before. We got a pretty substantial amount today here in Columbia. I have details coming up on KOMU 8 News at 9.
A deadly bombing in Iraq leaves more than a dozen dead. Coming up, what crowded place the suicide bomber targeted.
Plus, the new Secretary of State takes his first business trip to a Latin American country.
Now, your live Doppler 8 First Alert weather with Chief Weathercaster Dave Schmidt.
Well, good evening. Thanks for staying up with us. We've got pretty good weather to talk about. Well, you've heard the weather. Now we're going to be back with more news after this.
A bombing at a crowded cafe in Iraq.
And the Secretary of State takes his first business trip to Latin America. KOMU 8's Chris Lilly is here with your Worldview report.
In central Iraq, a suicide bomber killed at least 16 people. It happened in a crowded cafe about 50 miles north of Baghdad. It wounded 41 people, and the mayor reported that all the casualties were civilians. One witness says the attackers set off the explosives he was wearing. It's not yet clear who was behind the bombing, though the police suspect that an organization formed this year through a merger of Al-Qaeda's branches in Syria and Al-Qaeda. Today in Bogota, Secretary of State John Kerry met with the soldiers and police injured in Colombia's fight against rebels. This is Kerry's first trip to Latin America as Secretary of State, and Colombia is one of the closest friends of the U.S. in the Spanish-speaking world. Kerry's visit comes in the Colombian government and leftist rebels struggle to negotiate a peace deal. The two sides began a 12th round of talks over the weekend. In Austria, a construction crane collapsed on 2 small apartment buildings. Check out this video of the damage. The crane operator was able to free himself, and he walked away with only slight injuries. Police and rescue workers used sniffer dogs and infrared cameras to determine if anyone was inside. Police later said all residents have been accounted for. And that's the look around your world tonight.
The Missouri football team began another week of fall camp today.
And the Tiger coach got banged up a little bit. That's next in sports.
Now, from the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports with Chris Gervino.
Hello, everyone. High school football teams around the state began practice today. How about that, Jim Reek?
Chris, thank you very much. I'm glad you're back. A town changes a chore into a competition.
The grassy details coming up. 30 teams took part in a 12-hour endurance lawnmower race in England over the weekend. The event is said to be the highlight of the lawnmower racing season in the UK because apparently there are more than one of these competitions. Now, the winning team completed 406 laps in the 12-hour race. That's about 348 miles. Much of the race took part in the dark, which added to the challenge, and Harry Potter actor Warwick Davis had the honor of starting the race.
They should have done something in the first place here in Sedalia of Pettis County, and the man over there probably wouldn't have been dead.
Coming up on KOMU 8 News at 10, an investigation why critics say the killing at the Truman VA hospital could have been avoided. Dave?
And we have a great weather forecast for you. Check this out, particularly coming up on Wednesday and Thursday. High temperatures in the upper 70s. It'll be cooler, obviously, sunny and less humid. And here's the rest of that 8-day forecast. Anything to complain about?
No, just the mowing the yard. See, now with today's rain.
You have a riding lawnmower, right?
Yes.
So you could compete.
No, mine has blades. It's a for real riding mower. What we saw there were no blades.
Those are like go-karts.
Those were go-karts. Those were not lawnmowers.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you at 10.